Okay, so let's start the session if I'm audible. So I'm Dr. Pooja Manorama Dilip Khedkar. I've secured this is, yeah. So I've secured All India rank 821 in UPSC CSE 2022. Before this, just briefly, I will tell you about myself. So um, I was previously in as an assistant director in Sports Authority of India. After that, I was in IRS IIT, and then I got into IAS. So um, let's start the session. For your convenience and the I first of all thank UPSC Time for arranging this session. So they have sent me a list of frequently asked questions, which most of you all, I think it would cover most of your doubts. So I will be starting according to that. In case if you have any other problems or any other questions, you can ask me after the session is over. So in the end, for 15-20 minutes, we can have that session where you can ask your doubts and I will answer to the best of my ability. I will tell you a bit of details about my journey in UPSC. So for me, it has been a very long and arduous journey. So I'm a doctor by profession, and I began it when I was in college. So I started reading up a few of the things and about the process of UPSC. And my inspiration to say was my grandfather, who was also an IAS officer. And so I am basically a third generation civil servant. So it was always there in the back of my mind that I had to do this. Though I went on to do medicine and surgery and then endocrinology, so still I had this dream of getting into civil services and getting into IAS. So I was persistent with that. So even after working and doing my fellowship and everything, I still came back to UPSC after a break. As I said, in my 2019 attempt, I appeared for the interview, and then I got into Sports Authority of India as an assistant director in 2021. The exam was 19, but I joined in 2020, sorry. So after that, I still again appeared for the exam in 2021, and I secured a rank of 679. The 2020 exam I got into IRS IT, and this exam, the past exam, I got into IAS. So this was in short my journey. About the optional, my optional in this attempt was anthropology, but before this in 2019 my optional was sociology. So I switched from sociology to anthropology. Though I mean in sociology I scored an average marks of 260, but I thought somewhere it was lacking, and and I was not very comfortable, so I changed my optional to anthropology. And being a doctor and plus having the background of sociology for some part, that helped me in anthropology as well. So in this year I've scored a 285 in anthropology. So anthropology has worked well for me this year, though last year I had less marks in anthropology, around 200 marks. Which is considered to be grossly below average. From there I worked up my marks to 285 in this attempt. I will divide our session into three parts. So first let's talk about the prelims, then mains, and then interview as it is in UPSC. Before that, I want to tell you an overall strategy. That see, if you think of appearing for 1 year, say 2024, then ideally you should start your preparation in 2023, where you first finish off your optional. Your optional subject is whatever coaching if you want to take, or reading up the notes. So optional, and then some part of GS, say maybe GS4 or GS1. Then you can switch over to prelims and study prelims for at least 4 to 6 months depending on your strengths and weaknesses. And after that, after the prelims, then again you can start with mains. So if you ask me about the 1 year, how you will follow it, so this is the way I would suggest, and this is what I did in the beginning. So first focus on completing your optional, because GS in most of the parts is current affairs based. So even if you try to finish GS in the beginning, it won't be very helpful. So in GS, if you have to choose, you can take up static parts of GS, like say GS1 and GS4. So which is more of static. GS2 and GS3 are more current affairs oriented. And also you can start building up on your essay, because essay is something which can be a game changer. So this is the overall scheme of the exam, or scheme of appearing, which I would suggest. So now let's start with prelims. I feel prelims, at least if you're a beginner, it requires at least 4 to 6 months to go through the topics and thoroughly understand the concepts. The basic thing for prelims is that you revise, and revise. Rather than going for more sources for static, stick to one source, whether it is your class notes or whether it is the standard textbooks. So stick to one specific source and revise it multiple times. So this is the thing for statics. Even for current, if you think that you can cover everything and you should read about 2-3 magazines, then I don't think it works very well. Though for some people it has worked, but my opinion would be that you go through one magazine and you can add a daily current affairs from one of the websites. So जैसे ओके, आई विल ट्राई टू इंक्लूड हिंदी ऑल्सो, मैं हिंदी भी इंक्लूड करती हूँ. तो जैसे मैं आप करंट अफेयर्स की हम बात कर रहे थे, तो इसमें आप 2 सोर्सेज फॉलो कर सकते हो. जैसे कि आप मंथली जो है एक सोर्स से फॉलो करो. एनी वन मैगजीन इज़ फाइन, कोई भी एक चलेगा. तो आप जैसे आई कैन से विजन मंथली आप फॉलो कर सकते हो, और एक डेली फॉलो कर सकते हो. जैसे सिविल्स डेली का है, डेली करंट अफेयर्स आता है, या IAS बाबा का है, तो वो डेली आपको एक थोड़ा सा उसका स्नैपशॉट मिलेगा कि हाँ ये डेली के न्यूज़ है. न्यूज़पेपर रीडिंग आई वुड से फॉर प्रीलिम्स आप ब्राउज कर सकते हो, बट बहुत डिटेल्ड रीडिंग प्रीलिम्स के लिए इतना नेसेसरी नहीं है. यू कैन डू विदाउट दैट ऑल्सो, बिकॉज व्हाट हैपन्स कि इतना करने को होता है. जैसे CSAT भी आजकल इट्स बिकम वेरी डाइसी, तो वो भी करना ज़रूरी है. तो इतना सारा चीज़ें होता है. अगर आप 3-4 घंटे सिर्फ पेपर रीडिंग में लगा दोगे तो काफ़ी मुश्किल हो जाएगा आपको बाकी की चीज़ें करना. सो एक ब्राउज़ कर सकते हो आप न्यूज़पेपर से, एक इन जनरल ओवरव्यू ले सकते हो. उसके बाद आप ये डेली जो नोट्स आते हैं उस पर फोकस कर सकते हो. सो आई हैव अ क्वेश्चन हियर, मैं ये लेती हूँ ताकि वो सिंक्रोनी में हो. तो आप जैसे पूछ रहे हो कि करंट अफेयर्स के लिए नोट्स बनाने चाहिए क्या. इफ़ यू आस्क मी, मैंने अपने पहले अटैम्प्ट में नहीं बनाए थे, बट मुझे ऐसा लगा दैट इज़ सम लैक ऑफ कॉन्फिडेंस. जब मेरा एक प्रीलिम क्लियर नहीं हुआ था, तो उसके बाद मैंने ये सोचा कि हाँ मुझे करंट अफेयर्स के नोट्स बनाने चाहिए, और वो काफ़ी हेल्पफुल रहा. बट जो करंट अफेयर्स के आपके प्रीलिम्स के लिए नोट्स होंगे वो बहुत ही शॉर्ट होंगे. आप डे वाइज बना सकते हो, बिकॉज आप या फिर आप सब्जेक्ट वाइज बना सकते हो. तो ये बहुत ही शॉर्ट होने चाहिए. सपोज़ फॉर एग्जांपल कोई बटरफ्लाई स्पीशीज़ डिस्कवर हुई है, तो आप बस नेम ऑफ द बटरफ्लाई स्पीशीज़ और उसका क्या हुआ है, तो इस तरह से. या फिर अगर जो चीज़ें हैं जो हमेशा चेंज होती है, फॉर एग्जांपल रेपो रेट है, या ये इंटरेस्ट रेट्स है, या लिक्विडिटी लेवल्स है, ये जो चीज़ें हैं ये काफ़ी चेंज होती है. तो आप एक ओवरऑल ट्रेंड देख सकते हो, बट ये लिख के या इसके नोट्स बना के ज़्यादा कुछ फ़ायदा नहीं है. तो हाँ, नोट्स आप बना सकते हो, लेकिन कीप इट वेरी शॉर्ट एंड टू द पॉइंट, क्योंकि सिर्फ ये बनाने नहीं हैं, आपको ये रीड और रिवाइज़ भी करने हैं. इफ़ यू राइट इट वंस और आप रिवाइज़ नहीं करते हो, तो वो नोट्स का वैसे भी कोई मतलब है नहीं. तो अगर आप बनाना चाहते हो तो आप बना सकते हो, लेकिन उसको शॉर्ट रखिए और उसको ऑर्गेनाइज्ड रखिए. या अगर आप डेली बेसिस पे कर रहे हो तो हैव अ टारगेट कि मैं 10 to 15 न्यूज़ आइटम्स या इंफॉर्मेशन जो है उसको कवर करूँगा. सो वेदर इट इज़ जोग्राफ़ी या IR, मतलब IR बेस्ड ऑन जोग्राफ़ी, तो आप उस तरह से उसको कर सकते हो. या फिर आप सब्जेक्ट वाइज जैसे एनवायरनमेंट, इकोनॉमी, उसको ऐसे सेग्रीगेट करके कर सकते हो. सो दिस वाज अबाउट प्रीलिम्स करंट अफेयर्स. दूसरा प्रीलिम्स के लिए जैसे मैंने बोला कि सोर्सेज मैं आपको आई कैन सेंड यू द लिस्ट कि कौन से सोर्सेज मैंने रेफ़र किए थे. ब्रॉडली मैंने जो बेसिक हमारे टेक्स्ट बुक्स है वो रेफ़र किए थे। जैसे पॉलिटी के लिए लक्ष्मीकांत, इकोनॉमी के लिए मैंने श्री राम आयस के नोट्स पढ़े थे, और शंकर गणेशन करके एक बुक आता है, वो पढ़ा था। एनवायरनमेंट के लिए PMFIS, ज्योग्राफी के लिए NCERTs, और पॉलिटी के लिए भी मैंने NCERTs पढ़ी थी। तो ये है। और बाकी डिटेल बुक लिस्ट मैं अपने इंस्टा पे आपको दे दूँगी, या फिर यहाँ पे अपलोड कर दूँगी यूट्यूब के कमेंट्स में। सो आप वो फॉलो कर सकते हो, बट जैसे मैंने बोला कि लिमिटेड सोर्सेज आप रखिए, तो वो आपके लिए बेनिफिशियल होगा। एडिटोरियल्स, यस, मुझे यहाँ पे आपका क्वेश्चन दिख रहा है कि एडिटोरियल्स जो है वो उसके नोट्स करने चाहिए या फॉलो करने चाहिए। तो हाँ, एडिटोरियल के नोट्स एज इन इट डिपेंड्स कि क्या टॉपिक है। फॉर एग्ज़ाम्पल रशिया यूक्रेन वॉर पे हमेशा हम देख रहे थे कि एडिटोरियल्स आ रहे थे, तो इसका नोट्स बनाना आई वुडेंट एडवाइज़, बिकॉज़ ये एक ऑनगोइंग टॉपिक है और इसका इमीडिएट रेलेवेंस है नहीं प्रीलिम्स के लिए या मेंस के लिए भी। वो काफ़ी एनालिटिकल पार्ट है, तो ये ब्रॉडली कवर करना ज़रूरी है। यू कैन सी द व्यूज़, आप अलग अलग व्यूज़ देख सकते हो, जैसे राइटिस्ट व्यूज़ है, लेफ्टिस्ट व्यूज़ है, या किस तरह से ऑथर ने दिया गया है। और उसको आपको अगर कोई उसमें से व्यू ठीक लगे, या इट इज़ सम बाय से फॉरेन पॉलिसी एनालिस्ट, तो आप उसको मेंस के लिए जॉट डाउन कर सकते हो, बट अदरवाइज़ वैसे उसका प्रीलिम्स के लिए कोई रेलेवेंस नहीं है। सो ये एडिटोरियल के बारे में है। मोर प्रीलिम्स पे आप स्पेसिफिक ऑब्जेक्टिव फैक्ट पे फोकस कर सकते हैं, जो इन जनरल आप ये करते हो। एडिटोरियल कौन से न्यूज़पेपर का बेस्ट है? देखिए, मैं प्रीवियसली आई वाज फॉलोइंग हिंदू, बट उसके बाद मैंने स्विच किया इंडियन एक्सप्रेस पे, तो ऐसा कोई कुछ नेसेसिटी है नहीं। या ये भी आप देख सकते हो, जो काफ़ी इंस्टीट्यूट्स के जैसे बायजूस के, राउज़ आयस के, इनके एडिटोरियल के वीडियोस आते हैं 30 मिनट्स के, तो आप वो देख सकते हो। मेन ये है कि आपको जो टाइम है वो आपको बेस्ट यूटिलाइज़ करना है। अगर आप हर चीज़ में डिटेल में जाओगे, हर चीज़ के डिटेल नोट्स बनाओगे, तो इट इज़ अ वेरी कम्बरसम प्रोसेस और उसको काफ़ी टाइम लग सकता है। तो मैं ये सजेस्ट करूँगी कि मोर देन हार्ड वर्क, स्मार्ट वर्क इज़ ऑल्सो नेसेसरी, बिकॉज़ आपके पास टाइम लिमिटेड है और उतने टाइम में आपको सब कुछ मैनेज करना है। तो इसलिए मैं आपको ये सजेस्ट करूँगी कि आप थोड़ा स्मार्ट वर्क कीजिए, रादर देन गोइंग थ्रू ऑल द एडिटोरियल्स। आप एडिटोरियल्स की वीडियोस देखिए, या फिर आप एक उससे ब्राउज़ कीजिए, तो वो ज़्यादा हेल्पफुल होगा। तो हम ये प्रीलिम्स पर्सपेक्टिव से बात कर रहे हैं। मेंस के लिए ऑब्वियसली अप्रोच अलग होगा, बट प्रीलिम्स के लिए तो यही अप्रोच रहना चाहिए। और तो ये बात हुई प्रीलिम्स की। सेकंड मैं बात करना चाहूँगी सीसैट की। बहुत सारे लोग ये कहते हैं कि टेक्निकल बैकग्राउंड होना ज़रूरी है, या जैसे इंजीनियरिंग के स्टूडेंट्स के लिए इजी होता है। मैं इस बारे में थोड़ा डिफ़र करना चाहूँगी। मेरा बिल्कुल भी बैकग्राउंड नहीं है इंजीनियरिंग में या टेक्निकल इसमें। जैसे मैंने आपको बताया, मैं डॉक्टर, बट फॉर्चुनेटली एंड थैंकफुली आज तक मेरा सीसैट रहा नहीं है कभी। तो मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि आपको थोड़ा बेसिक न्यूमेरेसी पे फोकस करना चाहिए, और इफ़ यू कैन सॉल्व से 5 to 10 क्वेश्चंस डेली, तो वो हेल्पफुल होगा। सी द क्लासिफिकेशन एंड कैटेगरी ऑफ क्वेश्चंस। जैसे इस साल के अगर आप प्रीलिम्स में देखोगे, तो परमिटेशन कॉम्बिनेशन के बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस थे, तो आपको उस टॉपिक वाइज उस पर फोकस करना है। जैसे एलिगेशन मिक्सचर्स हो गया, वर्क एंड टाइम हो गया, प्रोबेबिलिटी हो गया, तो स्पेसिफिक टॉपिक्स पे फोकस कीजिए रादर दैन कि जस्ट पेपर्स सॉल्व करना, बिकॉज मोस्ट ऑफ देम आप इन टेक्निक से सॉल्व कर सकते हो। नंबर सिस्टम हो गया, तो इसके काफ़ी सिंपल फार्मूलाज है, तो ये आप ना फोकस्ड थोड़ा सा सीसैट के लिए आप करो। इवन कॉम्प्रीहेंशन को मेरा टेक्निक ये रहा है कॉम्प्रीहेंशन में। जैसे आप पूछ रहे हैं कि कॉम्प्रीहेंशन में क्या करना है, तो मेरा टेक्निक ये रहा है कॉम्प्रीहेंशन में कि रीड इट एज दो यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड दिस एंड एक्सप्लेन इट टू समबडी। जैसे आप एग्ज़ाम में हम काफ़ी प्रेशर में रहते हैं, तो हम पैसेजेस जो पढ़ते हैं वो इस तरह से पढ़ते हैं कि इसके क्वेश्चन का आंसर हमें मिल जाए, बट उस तरीके से पढ़ना इज़ लाइक आपका बहुत नैरो व्यू होगा और उससे आपके आंसर्स गलत हो सकते हैं। तो उससे अच्छा आप ये ट्राई करिए कि एग्जैक्टली ये पैसेज क्या कह रहा है। अगर आपको बताना होगा किसी को कि यार व्हाट डिड यू रीड अबाउट, या आपने इस पैसेज में क्या पढ़ा, तो आपको वो बताने के लिए आपको पहले पैसेज समझना पड़ेगा। तो मैं ये सजेस्ट करूँगी कि जब आप आप ये टॉपिक्स जब आप कॉम्प्रीहेंशन सॉल्व कर रहे हो तो आप इस चीज़ पे फोकस कीजिए कि व्हाट एग्जैक्टली द पैसेज वांट्स टू से। और इतने लंबे पैसेजेस होते नहीं, या आप पैराग्राफ वाइज अप्रोच फॉलो कर सकते हो कि व्हाट इज़ दी और शी द ऑथर इज़ ट्राइंग टू से इन दिस पैराग्राफ, एंड यू कैन राइट इट डाउन ऑन द साइड ऑफ द पैराग्राफ कि आपको क्या लगता है। सो नॉट इन डिटेल ऑब्वियसली, बट एक थीम। फॉर एग्जाम्पल फार्मिंग पे कुछ चल रहा है एंड द फर्स्ट पैराग्राफ टॉक्स अबाउट ऑर्गेनिक फार्मिंग, तो आप साइड में ऑर्गेनिक फार्मिंग इतना मेंशन कर दीजिए, ताकि जब आप क्वेश्चन पढ़ेंगे तो आपको वो लिंक हो जाएगा। ठीक है, तो ये अप्रोच आप फॉलो करना ट्राई कीजिए। और दूसरा अप्रोच आप ये यूज़ कर सकते हैं कि इन जनरल व्हाट इज़ द पैराग्राफ ट्राइंग टू टेल। इसमें आपको आपका जनरल नॉलेज लॉजिक, मतलब जो जनरल लॉजिक है उसको बिल्कुल नहीं लगाना है। कि जैसे आपको जनरली हमें पता होता है कि हाँ इंडिया हैज़ अ पार्लियामेंट्री सिस्टम, बट अगर इफ़ द ऑथर इज सेइंग समथिंग डिफरेंट यू जस्ट स्टिक विद दैट, कंसिडर व्हाट द ऑथर इज सेइंग टू बी अ फैक्ट इवन दो इफ इट इज़ नॉट। तो वेदर वो उसका करेक्टनेस और रॉन्गनेस ये आप जज करने की कोशिश मत कीजिए। जो ऑथर ने बोला है उसको करेक्ट कंसिडर करके आप उसके आंसर्स देने की कोशिश कीजिए। तो दिस इज़ व्हाट आई वुड सजेस्ट फॉर कॉम्प्रिहेंशन और सी सैट। तीसरा हम बात करेंगे जैसे आप पूछ रहे हो मॉक्स के बारे में या प्रीलिम्स टेस्ट सीरीज़ के बारे में। तो इसमें दो अप्रोचेस मैंने अलग अलग फॉलो किए थे। जैसे डेली टेस्ट सीरीज़ एक आता है, सो ये जैसे डेली फॉर 1 आवर यू हैव 20 क्वेश्चंस और सम टेस्ट हैव 50 क्वेश्चंस। तो आई थिंक इससे क्या होता है कि आप उस फ्लो में रहते हो। तो नॉट 6 महीने के लिए नहीं, बट यू कैन डू इट फॉर 2 मंथ्स और 3 मंथ्स, कि आप डेली टेस्ट सीरीज सॉल्व कर रहे हो, या एटलीस्ट फॉर अ मंथ। कि उससे क्या होगा, आपका प्रिपरेशन स्ट्रीमलाइन होगा, आपके अगर माइंड में वो एक डिसिप्लिन आएगा कि हाँ मुझे ये चीज़ जो है वो इतने टाइम में ख़त्म करनी है। तो वो आप फॉलो कीजिए, मतलब मैंने वो फॉलो किया था एंड यू कैन ट्राई दैट। और दूसरा है वीकली टेस्ट सीरीज़, तो दैट इज़ फुल लेंथ, एंड आई वुड सजेस्ट कि आप लाइब्रेरी में या अपने रूम पे बैठ के ये टेस्ट सीरीज़ सॉल्व मत कीजिए। ट्राई टू सॉल्व इट इन एन एनवायरनमेंट जहाँ पे सिमुलेशन हो उस एनवायरनमेंट का जो प्रीलिम्स में होगा। बिकॉज सॉल्विंग समथिंग अंडर प्रेशर और उसको आप रूम पे या घर पे सॉल्व करना, दोनों में बहुत डिफरेंस है। जब आप प्रेशर में कुछ चीज़ सॉल्व करते हो तो आपका अप्रोच अलग होता है। देखिए जो भी प्रीलिम्स क्लियर करते हैं और जो नहीं करते हैं उनमें नॉलेज में ज़्यादा कुछ डिफरेंस होता है नहीं, बिकॉज सब लोग वही बुक्स पढ़ते हैं, वही चीज़ें करते हैं, बट हैंड प्रोसेसिंग दैट नॉलेज अंडर प्रेशर इज़ समथिंग जो आपको उस पर फोकस करना है। फॉर एग्ज़ाम्पल जैसे 2021 में पाम पे क्वेश्चन था वेदर इट इज़ एंडेमिक टू साउथ ईस्ट एशिया। अब इस चीज़ को अगर आपको ये पता भी नहीं है तो भी आप इसका बेसिक इन्फॉर्मेशन प्रोसेस कर सकते हो। फॉर एग्ज़ाम्पल इंडिया को लैंड ऑफ 5 पाम्स कहते हैं, तो इन दैट केस आपको ये पता है कि देर इज़ अ पॉसिबिलिटी दैट इट इज़ नॉट एंडेमिक टू साउथ ईस्ट एशिया और नॉट नेटिव टू साउथ ईस्ट एशिया, इट कैन ऑल्सो बी फाउंड इन इंडिया। तो उस केस में आप ये चीज़ एलिमिनेट कर सकते हैं, बट ये चीज़ आपको एग्ज़ाम में सोचने के लिए यू शुड गेट यूज टू दैट प्रेशर, और वो आप तभी यूज टू होंगे जब आप उस एनवायरनमेंट में पेपर्स देने की कोशिश करेंगे। तो मैं ये सजेस्ट करूँगी कि आप वो प्रेशर को यू ट्राई टू रिक्रिएट इट, और उस एनवायरनमेंट में आप प्रीलिम्स की टेस्ट सीरीज सॉल्व कीजिए। सो ये प्रीलिम्स के बारे में हो गया। इफ़ यू हैव एनी क्वेश्चंस रिलेटेड टू प्रीलिम्स यू कैन आस्क, वी हैव अ विंडो ऑफ 2-3 मिनट्स। उसके बाद हम मेंस के प्रिपरेशन पे शिफ्ट करेंगे। कोचिंग, टू बी ऑनेस्ट, मैंने एनरोल किया था कोचिंग्स में, लेकिन मैं आई डिड नॉट अटेंड द कोचिंग्स। जैसे कि मैंने वाजिराम में इनिशियली एनरोल किया था, बट आफ्टर 2 वीक्स आई पर्सनली डिड नॉट फील कि मुझे उसकी ज़्यादा हेल्प हो रही है। तो आई हैव प्रिपेयर्ड लाइक 95% ऑफ माई प्रिपरेशन मैंने सेल्फ स्टडी ही किया है। कुछ मॉड्यूल्स हियर एंड देयर आई हैड अटेंडेड, जैसे एथिक्स के लिए मैंने अटेंड किया था, लेकिन ओवरऑल मैंने इवन फॉर ऑप्शनल मैंने सेल्फ स्टडी ही किया है। सोशो के लिए भी मैंने सेल्फ स्टडी किया था और एंथ्रोपोलॉजी के लिए भी मैंने सेल्फ स्टडी किया है, मैंने अपने ही नोट्स बनाए थे। So we have one more question: how to deal with failures continuously for 3 times? सी देर आर अ लॉट ऑफ एग्जाम्पल्स, बहुत सारे एग्जाम्पल्स ऐसे हैं जहाँ पे 5 अटेम्प्ट्स प्री नहीं निकला है लेकिन 6th अटेम्प्ट में लोगों का रैंक आया है। तो ऐसे बहुत सारे, सी इट इज़ ओनली अबाउट द 1 अटेम्प्ट विच मैटर्स, जिसमें आपका रैंक है। इसके बाद इससे पहले आपने कितने प्रीलिम्स नहीं क्लियर किए या कितने अटेम्प्ट्स दिए, ये बिल्कुल मैटर नहीं करता है। अभी आपको शायद लग रहा होगा कि यार मेरे 3 प्रीलिम्स नहीं निकले या 4 प्रीलिम्स नहीं निकले या जो भी है, लेकिन व्हाट मैटर्स इज़ द प्रेजेंट अटेम्प्ट। तो ये जो है कि आप इसका बिल्कुल भी बैगेज मत लीजिए कि मेरा ये क्लियर नहीं हुआ है या जो भी है, बिकॉज़ ये सब मैटर नहीं करता है। सो नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज़ हाउ डू वी मैनेज टाइम एंड व्हाट वाज योर डेली शेड्यूल? सो आई थिंक दिस विल डिफ़र पर्सन टू पर्सन, बट मेरा ऐसा था कि मैं कंटिन्यूसली पढ़ती थी, जो भी खाने के लिए या जो है, दैट इज़ द ओनली टाइम आई यूज़ टू गेट अप, बिकॉज़ जैसे मेडिकल से ही मुझे आदत थी कि हाँ कंटिन्यूसली पढ़ना है। बट जैसे मैंने कहा, देर आर वेरी मैनी वेरिएशंस, देर आर लॉट ऑफ पीपल हु स्टडी फॉर 10 hours, do gym for 1 hour, do some recreational activities for 1 hour, and then still manage to clear the exam. But I am not one of those. मैंने अपने प्रिपरेशन में फोकस्ड प्रिपरेशन ही किया है, और तो मैं ये कहूँगी कि डिफर्स पर्सन टू पर्सन, बट हाँ मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि जो आपका क्वालिटेटिव स्टडी है वो आपका 8 to 10 hours होना चाहिए। प्रिपरेशन मैंने कहा, या मैंने इनिशियली घर से प्रिपेयर किया, फिर आई वेंट टू दिल्ली। आई प्रिपेयर्ड इन दिल्ली फॉर 2-3 years, लेकिन ये जो 21 का मेंस था तो आई अगेन प्रिपेयर्ड फ्रॉम माई होम टाउन। सो दिल्ली में जाने के लिए आई फील कि अगर आपको वो एटमॉस्फियर चाहिए तो यू शुड गो, बिकॉज फॉर मी, मेरे लिए ऐसा है कि एक्सटर्नल मोटिवेशन भी मैटर करता था। तो आइसोलेटेड करके मैंने कभी ज़्यादा पढ़ाई की नहीं है, तो आई प्रेफर टू गो टू दिल्ली एंड गो एंड सिट इन अ लाइब्रेरी एंड स्टडी ओवर देर। तो मैं लाइब्रेरी में जाके ही पढ़ती थी, बट यू कैन स्टडी एट होम ऑल्सो। जैसे मेंस के वक्त मैंने घर पे प्रिपेयर किया था। सो वॉट एवर मोटिवेट्स यू, वॉट एवर मेक्स यू गिव योर क्वालिटेटिव टाइम, आई थिंक वो फॉलो करना चाहिए, रादर दैन कि कौन क्या बोल रहा है। बिकॉज हमारे पास दोनों भी एग्जाम्पल्स है, जो लोगों ने घर पे रह के भी क्लियर किया है और दिल्ली में रह के भी क्लियर किया है। मोर ओवर जो है आपको सब मटेरियल्स ऑनलाइन अवेलेबल है, तो अब ऐसा रहा नहीं है कि आपको दिल्ली जाना पड़ेगा कोई मटेरियल्स लेने के लिए। तो आई थिंक कि येस डेफिनेटली फिजिबल है, बट इफ़ यू फील कि आपको एक्सटर्नल, वंस आई थिंक यू कैन गो टू दिल्ली एंड स्टे फॉर अ फ्यू मंथ्स just to get overview of your competition कि हाँ this is something which I have to compete with, and if that gives you motivation, like for me it was a driving factor कि मुझे इतने सारे लोगों से compete करना है, तो I have to be at the best of my game। तो ये मेरे लिए मोटिवेशन था। बट इफ़ इट इज़ समथिंग जो आपको डीमोटिवेट कर रहा है, तो मुझे ऐसे लगता है कि आपको वो नहीं करना चाहिए। तो इट डिपेंड्स पर्सन टू पर्सन। नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, how to deal with the uncertainty of this exam? uh, that is a very tricky question, rather than it's a very difficult question to answer, but मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि if you have a strong plan B, that is something which can give you support कि हाँ दिस इज़ कि ठीक है ये नहीं हुआ तो देर इज़ समथिंग आई कैन फॉल बैक अपॉन। बट इसमें एक बहुत थिन लाइन है कि आपका ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि प्लान बी इज़ एज गुड एज प्लान ए, तो फिर आपको ये लगेगा चलो हुआ तो हुआ, नहीं तो नहीं हुआ। सो योर गोल शुड बी दिस, बट हाँ आपको कुछ ना कुछ सोचना पड़ेगा विच गिव्स यू मेंटल पीस कि चलो ये नहीं तो क्या। वरना काफ़ी बार ऐसे होता है कि हमें इतनी एंग्जाइटी हो जाती है कि अगर मेरा क्लियर नहीं हुआ तो फिर क्या। तो प्लान बी इज़ नेसेसरी फॉर मेंटल कंफर्ट, बट नॉट टू द एक्सटेंट कि आपका दे से योर पाथ टू बिगर गोल्स इज़ हैम्पर्ड बाय स्मॉलर गोल्स। सो इट शुडंट बी समथिंग कि यू पुट अप अ गोल एंड आप उसी की तरफ चले गए, तो फिर आपका यूपीएससी का मोटिवेशन बढ़ने की जगह कम हो जाएगा। सो इट शुड बी समथिंग जो आपको थोड़ा सा एक मेंटल स्टेबिलिटी दे कि हाँ ये नहीं हुआ तो मेरे पास कुछ है विच आई कैन फॉल बैक अपॉन। तो येस, आई थिंक प्लान बी इज़ इम्पॉर्टेंट इन दैट सेंस। सो आई थिंक बाकी के आपके क्वेश्चंस मैं सेशन के बाद लेती हूँ, बिकॉज वी स्टिल हैव टू टॉक अबाउट मेंस। और एंथ्रोपोलॉजी के बारे में मैं, या ऑप्शनल के बारे में मैं शॉर्ट में बताऊँगी, बिकॉज आई एम श्योर नॉट मैनी ऑफ यू विल हैव द सेम ऑप्शनल. So I'll take those questions after I do this. And for anthropology मैं एक separate session लूँगी, क्योंकि वो काफ़ी डिटेल स्ट्रैटेजी है और मैंने उसमें काफ़ी सारे सोर्सेज और ये यूज़ किया है, तो इसके लिए मैं अलग से सेशन लूँगी. तो अभी हम जीएस और एसए पे फोकस करते हैं. तो टॉकिंग अबाउट मेंस, मेंस का ओवरऑल अगर मुझे आप स्ट्रैटेजी पूछें तो आई वुड सजेस्ट द सेम, कि इसका भी लिमिटेड इन्फॉर्मेशन and you revise it multiple times. People say that there is no necessity to mug up or कि बहुत understanding based है, but मुझे personally ऐसा लगता है that there are some facts and some objective things which you have to learn. जब तक आप वो learn नहीं करोगे, आप अपना जो कंटेंट है मेंस में वो आप बढ़ा ही नहीं सकते, और आपका क्रिटिकल एनालिसिस तब तक अच्छा नहीं होगा जब तक आपके पास कोई ऑब्जेक्टिव फैक्ट्स है नहीं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल आप एनवायरनमेंट का एक क्वेश्चन ले लीजिए, इफ़ इट आस्क्स अबाउट कंजर्वेशन ऑफ वेस्टर्न घाट्स. अगर इस चीज़ में आपको ये पता नहीं है कि कस्तूरी रंजन रिपोर्ट ने क्या कहा था या गाडगिल कमेटी रिपोर्ट ने क्या कहा था, तो आप इसका क्रिटिकल एनालिसिस लिख ही नहीं सकते, या इवन इफ़ यू राइट इट वो इतना इफ़ेक्टिव नहीं होगा. तो मुझे लगता है कि आई वोंट से रोट लर्निंग, बट येस, लर्निंग सर्टन फैक्ट्स, certain reports, and some objective things like India का trade deficit कितना है. It's not that you need those numbers, but you need to know how large it is or how small it is, so that you are able to write something about it. या फिर हमारी पंचप्राण स्ट्रैटेजी हो गई बजट की, या सप्तऋषि हो गया. दिस इज़ समथिंग जो एक इंडिया का ब्रॉडर विजन है, और अगर आपको ये नहीं पता है तो आप अपना आंसर उससे अलाइन नहीं कर पाओगे. तो ये आई थिंक दीज ऑब्जेक्टिव फैक्ट्स आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. सो यू कैन स्टार्ट विथ नोइंग दिस सो दैट इट इम्प्रूव्स योर कंटेंट एंड इम्प्रूव्स द क्वालिटी ऑफ योर आंसर्स, एंड यू आर एबल टू गेट अ बेटर स्कोर. सो ये इनिशियली मैंने नहीं किया था, तो माई जी एस स्कोर वॉज नॉट दैट ग्रेट. तो बट इवेंचुअली मैंने ये चीज़ें इनकॉर्पोरेट की थी अपने जनरल स्टडीज़ के प्रिपरेशन में. So I'll go, we can divide it into 5 parts: essay, GS1, GS2, GS3 and GS4. So I think the game changer papers which can help you land a good score are essay, GS paper 1 and GS paper 4. So why I'm saying GS paper 1, because that is something जो आप प्री प्रिपेयर कर सकते हो. काफ़ी सारे जो क्वेश्चंस होते हैं उसके बेस्ड ऑन स्टैटिक पार्ट होते हैं, तो आपको करंट इन्फॉर्मेशन की बहुत कम ज़रूरत होती है. जो आप जहाँ भी करंट इन्फॉर्मेशन ऐड करोगे वो इट विल बी अ बोनस, और आपको वैल्यू एडिशन ही होगा. बट GS1 का ऐसा है कि काफ़ी सारा जो पार्ट है वो आप प्री प्रिपेयर कर सकते हो, और उसके क्वेश्चंस भी आप प्रेडिक्ट कर सकते हो. तो मैं ये सजेस्ट करूँगी कि जब आप अपना प्रिपरेशन स्टार्ट कीजिए, यू स्टार्ट विद स्टैटिक पार्ट ऑफ GS1 और GS4. बिकॉज GS4 इसलिए क्योंकि एक तो वो स्कोरिंग सब्जेक्ट है, दूसरा एथिक्स के कॉन्सेप्ट समझने में थोड़ा टाइम लगता है. मतलब दो दे आर सिंपल कॉन्सेप्ट्स, लेकिन आपको उसका एप्लीकेशन समझने में, या थोड़ा उसमें आपको पर्सनल एग्जांपल्स डालना या बाकी के एग्जांपल्स समझना, इसमें थोड़ा आपको टाइम लग सकता है. तो इफ़ यू हैव अ गुड कंसेप्चुअल अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ GS4, तो दैट रियली हेल्प्स यू गेट गुड मार्क्स. जैसे मेरा 2018 I had only 77 marks in ethics paper 4, and after that I increased it to 135. So in this I worked on my concepts. So I feel if you the input output ratio in GS4, GS1 and essay is very good. Even for essay आप थोड़ा सा अपने स्ट्रैटेजी पे या आप राइटिंग स्टाइल पे थोड़ा फोकस करेंगे तो डेफिनेटली यू विल हैव अ गुड आउटपुट. सो आई सजेस्ट यू टू स्टार्ट विद दीज 3 थिंग्स. नाउ इफ़ यू टॉक अबाउट essay, सी essay इज़ समथिंग जो अभी जैसे पेपर आ रहा है, इट हैज़ बिकम वेरी फिलोसॉफिकल. But I feel this philosophical essay also, you can reduce it down to a value, or you can reduce it down to something objective. फॉर एग्ज़ाम्पल जैसे 2022 में एक ऐसे था कि द शिप इज़ सेफेस्ट एट द हार्बर बट दैट इज़ नॉट व्हाट इट इज़ बिल्ट फॉर. अब इसका अगर आप एब्स्ट्रैक्ट देखें तो ऐसे है कि shore is something which is considered safe or sea is something which is considered as something which is difficult. तो अब ये इसका आप बेसिक पे जाओगे तो यही है कि फ्रॉम सेफ्टी टू डिफ़िकल्टी यू हैव टू विदर दैट एंड यू हैव टू पास थ्रू इट in order to reach your destination. तो आप you try to objectify the philosophical things. तो आप इसको सक्सेस से लिंक कर सकते हो एंड देन यू कैन हैव नोट्स मेड ऑन सक्सेस. सो दिस इज़ ये जो एक वैल्यू है सक्सेस, ग्रैटिट्यूड, हैप्पीनेस, इस पे आप यू कैन प्रिपेयर योर कंटेंट और फिर इसको आप मल्टीपल एसेज में यूज़ कर सकते हो. सो रादर दैन थिंकिंग कि ये बहुत एब्स्ट्रैक्ट है, ये बहुत फिलोसॉफिकल है, रिड्यूस इट टू इट्स वैल्यूज़. what is it is trying to say, whether it is talking about struggles, whether it is talking about success, or it is talking about something integrity, honesty, जो भी है उसको उस चीज़ पे आप try to reduce it so that essay will be easier and essay notes will be easier. So I suggest कि आप theme wise essay notes prepare कीजिए. There are many toppers notes which are available. तो you can people have made like you can write down anecdotes, you can write down quotes and even some objective facts like life incidents of some people या फिर आपने कुछ फेस किया हो. even that is a very good thing to include in your essay कि if you have faced something in your personal life in short without obviously using your name or your identity, you can include that in your essay which will give you extra marks. So my marks in essay have been around 125. Once I scored 145 and this year I scored 117. So yeah, the marks have been, this year essay has been hit, but still I think that is not a regular phenomenon. So you should focus on these points. And ऐसे के जैसे आप about topic selection, I would like to tell one or two things. Try to select the topic obviously which you are the most comfortable in, but since there are like two we have to write two essays, try to select something which where you can show your diversity, not avoid it being on similar lines. So that will, I think that essay selection that will fetch you more marks. But if you're not comfortable with something which is very diverse, then please don't write it, because if you forcefully write something, then that is really going to give you bad marks. So you have to weigh the pros and cons and then select the topic. So I think you can give around 10 minutes for topic selection, because that is something very important. And if you ask me about essay writing, then I would suggest you make a rough framework first. There are various approaches. I'll have to take a separate session for that. But overall, if you see, then you make a framework like introduction, body, and conclusion. So in body, you can have various approaches like social, political, timeline approach. So various approaches. In what I did in my introductions was I used anecdotes, and in some of them I used newspaper articles or newspaper headlines to make it seem more interesting. So and in some of them I used a bleak beginning, just to show a transition from a bleak beginning to a bright end. So ये ऐसी उसमें आप अलग अलग टेक्निक्स यूज़ कर सकते हो. बट येस, डू मेक अ फ्रेमवर्क फर्स्ट. लिस्ट डाउन योर पॉइंट्स अकॉर्डिंग टू द प्रायोरिटी कि आप कौन से पॉइंट पे पहले फोकस करना चाहते हो, एंड देन यू स्टार्ट राइटिंग योर ऐसे. व्हाट आई डिड वाज आई मेड फ्रेमवर्क फॉर बोथ द एसेज इन द बिगिनिंग. शुरू में ही मैंने दोनों एसेज के लिए फ्रेमवर्क बना लिया था, बिकॉज मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि पहला ऐसे लिखने के बाद काफ़ी मेंटल फटीग हो जाता है, and then you're not able to come out with points for the second essay, or you tend to repeat points. So it is better कि दोनों ऐसे का आप framework initially बना लो, and then you start writing with the essays, because writing is not so tedious, but coming up with ideas takes a lot of time. तो yeah, तो ये है. About answer writing, yes, how did you divide the word limit throughout the question, and are diagrams necessary? So yes, see, I won't say that you need to divide the words, but yes, you write a very short introduction, like in 2-3 lines. focus directly start from the demand of the question. Do not beat around the bush, do not give a background, do not try to express your views in the beginning. Just start directly with what the question is asking. While when you start writing a question, first divide the question into points. For example, if it is say, what are ocean currents, what are the different type of ocean currents, and what is the significance and relevance of ocean currents and climate change. Suppose this is the question which is for 15 marks. Then you try to put that, okay, what are ocean currents, this is number 1. What is the significance, number 2. What are the types, number 3. And what are its effects. So you have 4 sub questions in one question, and you have to address all the four subtopics with equal importance. So you try to do that. Many of the time what happens of the times what happens is we give more importance to the first part, and then we are short of words or short of space, and then we sort of wind up in the end. So that shouldn't happen. So you divide the question in a number of points in the beginning, and then you address each point, and then you write a futuristic conclusion. Try to use the words of the question in your answer. So if the word says what are the types of ocean currents, then write the types of ocean currents are. So try to use the words of the question. This is what I would suggest in case of answer writing. Secondly, broadly, you can try to interlink the papers. For example, like we know when we are writing geography, write something about disaster management. Say in the introduction or in the conclusion, you can include Sendai framework for disaster risk reduction, or something which because geography and is interrelated to all other disciplines, and disaster management is one of its major applications. So you can include that in your geography answers, or some other points from international relations, where something has happened internationally, or in like if it is related to say placement of mountains, then you can add in the significance that how Himalayas has been something which is very important to the Indian subcontinent. So you can add those kind of things in your answers, which will fetch you more marks. This is about the interrelation. Secondly, try not to use your subject knowledge or your graduation knowledge directly in the answers. For example, if you are a sociology student, then terms like McDonaldization or say Sanskritization, these are something which I feel should be avoided. Now there are some terms which have become very common, like feminization of agriculture. This though is a term of sociology, but it is being used very commonly, so that you can use. Or say suppose you have in anthropology tribe caste continuum, so hierarchy and stratification, try to avoid using these terms, and you can use the concept, but try avoiding to use these terms. So in paper 1, we have world history, art and culture, and geography, society. If you see the previous year questions, which I think is a must, you should go through the previous year questions. We can see that a lot of questions are being asked on society and geography. So in paper 1 also, I increased my marks from, I think I had in the beginning about 85 marks to later on this year I had 105 marks. So first I had ignored the society part because it was so general, and I thought that you can write it without preparation. But I feel that if you have some amount of preparation in sociology, if you try to get some data and some facts, or some specific information in the society part, then that will really increase your score. If you can't I have a question. If you can't recall examples to put in an answer, what should be done? See, this example doesn't have to be something very great or very specific. You can write general examples. Say for example, there is a question on say communalism in society. You can give example of any of the ethnic conflicts in the world without even specifically mentioning it. So we can write that the countries are at war based on ethnicity or something like that, and you can give an international example of the countries without mentioning the name of the ethnic groups. Like Armenia and Azerbaijan, or any other example for in the African countries. So these examples you can provide. So you don't have to mug up specific examples, and if you do not remember specific examples, you can write examples based on your general understanding and general knowledge. But do write an example, because many a times we are not able to convey what we have to say through to every examiner. So to be on the safer side, if you give an example, it will make more impact, though those examples can be very general. So this was about your question. Next question we have is about diagrams. So I used a lot of flowcharts and a lot of diagrams in my answers, but do not draw unnecessary diagrams. For example, if there's a question on India, say India-Thailand relationships, you do not have to draw India and Thailand. That is very irrelevant, and it will take up your space, and it will not make any value addition to your answer. So if you really want to draw a map, or draw a diagram, what you can do is that you can show, say maybe this the connectivity projects between India and Thailand, the highway which we are planning to build, or the transport corridor, or something like that, which will add some value to your answer, or some value to the question which is asked, say about India Thailand relationships. So it has to be something which adds value. Don't draw diagrams just for the sake of it. And try to include flowcharts in your answer, but not every answer. So say if in 5 out of 10 or 6 out of 10 answers you can use flowcharts, in 2-3 answers you can use diagrams. Say for art and culture, try to draw diagrams. In geography, try to draw diagrams. So that is something that will help you. See, suppose there's a question on coral bleaching. Rather than drawing the process of coral bleaching, you can show where the site where it is occurring. Say the Great Barrier Reef, you can name that, and then you can circle it and show it as a site of coral bleaching. So even when you're drawing something, try to link it to other subjects like IR or something, rather than just drawing the diagram of coral bleaching. So this will make your answer different. This is what I would suggest in case of diagrams. Second, yes, about the word limit. See, you can write lesser than the word limit, but please avoid shooting the word limit, because that's what I did in my initial attempts, that in case of 150 words, generally my answers would shoot up to 200 words or 210 words, and similarly in 15 markers it used to shoot up above 250. So I think that first of all it wastes your time. Secondly, it does not add any value to your answer, though you feel that it is adding, but the examiner will know that, though they do not count it, but in general when you read so many answers, you come to know that okay, this is something which is unnecessary. So try to write short, and try to write in points, and this is the approach I have used. I have written all my answers in points, and rather than explaining a point, I would say write the point and give an example, because explaining will take up more words, and even after explaining you will have to write an example. So it is better that you write the point in short and give an example. For example, this year there was a question on art and culture, in which they asked about the importance of various religious symbols and everything. So in that you can just say that during say Vijayanagar Empire, during Vijayanagar Empire, there was focus on say architecture, and you can give an example of the religious architecture which was present. So this way you can within less words you can get more marks, and more content you can build in your answer. So this is what I would suggest. In case of ethics, we'll talk about ethics, because I had followed a very detailed strategy for ethics, so I'll talk about it later. Then we come to paper 2. So paper 2, I would suggest that in value addition you can use your court cases and different articles and some these things, because without court cases or without some objective committee reports or something, you cannot substantiate your polity answer. So many of the times low scores in polity are because we do not support it with objective information. You don't have to write facts everywhere, but for example, if there is a question on judicial pendency, you should know that there are more than 3 crore cases pending in the Indian judiciary. So at least this kind of basic factual knowledge you should have in paper 2. In case of IR, I would suggest you make notes for IR, because IR is something which can fetch you marks, and there are at least 2 to 3 questions every year in IR. So you can make short notes where you write about the relations, the trade relations, or you can use, like last year I had used Rouse Compass for IR, so it had helped me in paper 2. So you could use that or any other coaching material, but do make notes of it, because these materials are very vast and you do not need so much depth and detail for IR. So I try to make notes of the material which is available. So this was about paper 2. Paper 3, I would say it is mostly current based. So say if you're using mains 365, then try to focus on the main current issues which are there. From past 2-3 years, paper 3 has been low scoring, like generally the score of paper 3 has fallen, but you never know when it will shoot up, so please be prepared. And paper 3 can be a very scoring subject. So like in 2018-19, paper 3 had scored really well. So paper 3 is something where you can score, and we don't know, maybe this year it will pick up. So be ready with your paper 3. Paper 3 sources, I had used various sources. I had used some IS network notes which were available online, and I also used vision value addition material. So I did a lot of patchwork in paper 3. So wherever I found the topic relevant, I just compiled those notes together, and in the end I made my own notes out of it. So in my last attempts, both the attempts, I have made my own notes for all the 3 subjects, all the 4 subjects. So that was about paper 3. And yes, internal security and disaster management. In disaster management, try to see the Disaster Management Act 2005, and try to go through the details. You'll find a lot of information in that act itself, and you'll be able to answer a lot of questions. And NDMA guidelines you should know for all the 7-8 main disasters which are there, because most of the times they ask that. And there are some very common NDMA guidelines which are mostly applicable to all, like retrofitting of structures, resilient designing. So these are something which are there in most of this. So try to remember those. And in disaster management also, I would suggest that if you can draw a diagram, it will be very helpful. For example, in landslides, there's a question on landslides. There's a diagram in NCRT which shows the slope and the landslides. Is a very simple diagram, or like a vector diagram, so you can use that, and that will give you a value addition. Then disaster management cycle and all that has become very common, so it's better to avoid that and use some other ways to show disasters. Like you can show the Pacific Ring of Fire in case of earthquakes, though it is not directly related, but it is related more to volcanoes, but you can also use it in earthquakes, because finally that leads to earthquakes and tsunamis and stuff like that. So try to incorporate different kind of diagrams, and you can make a compilation of these diagrams topic wise. So for example, you have in infrastructure, you have roads and railways and ports and everything. So for each topic you can just keep one diagram, because there will be only one question on each topic. So say for ports, you can keep major port and minor port, you can have that diagram, or you can have a Sagarmala and Bharatmala diagram. So that way I would suggest that you make a compilation of diagram for each paper, so that when you go in the exam hall, you don't have to think which diagram should I draw. And this is something which you can see just in 10 minutes before each paper, and it will give you a lot of value addition, and it will help you boost your marks in a short period of time, because many times you are not able to revise a lot, but diagrams is something which is a visual memory, and you can go through it very fast. So I would suggest you make a compilation of diagrams. Even in ethics, make a compilation of flowcharts. This is what I did. About ethics strategy, I'll explain a bit in detail, not much because ethics will also take time. But I extensively used DK Balaji sir's notes, the book which is available, and I also used. He has written an article which you can find online on I think Insights website. So go through that article because he's very beautifully mentioned the approach which you have to use for ethics, and I did follow that approach. And also I followed his book very religiously, and I made very short notes from his book. Even the examples I used from his books, and I brainstormed a few examples of my own, and I added it to those notes. So that is how I made the notes of ethics. And I revised those examples also multiple times, because after going there, if you start thinking about examples, it is going to be very time consuming. It is going to take up a lot of your time. So I would suggest that you prepare these examples in advance. You prepare a general example and you prepare an example from your personal life, especially for the values which are present, the values in like integrity, honesty. In all these, use an example of a leader or a moral thinker, and some examples from your personal life. So make a compilation of these examples, so that you can use it. And you can also use these examples or current affairs in your case studies. uh, for example, there was a question on there was a case study which was based on the sand mafia. So in the introduction, I wrote about the incidents of sand mafia, and so where civil servants lost their lives in trying to tackle these sand mafias. So that is what I included in my introduction. So this is the way you can incorporate current affairs into your ethics, and this will definitely make your paper stand out, and you will tend to score much better marks. And put efforts in case studies. We generally feel that case studies is something which it'll happen with time, or we can go in the examination hall and write it. But if you put in efforts in case studies, you will definitely get better marks. So I had made 5 approaches to case studies, so I'll tell you one or two. So one is the stakeholder approach, which all of you know. The second approach I used was using the ideological things like teleological ethics and deontological ethics, all this in the introduction, and then the ethical dilemmas and all that. So these were the different kind of approaches I used while solving a case study, and I used a different approach in each case study wherever it was feasible. Like last year, the questions were very specific, so in those cases probably you won't be able to use it, but try to use it in the introduction and the conclusion. So try focusing on your case studies, and the more originality in thinking you have in ethics, especially the theory part, the more marks you'll score. So that's why I said that brainstorming in ethics and preparing it in advance is very important, and it will help you score a lot of marks. So focus on these things. So I think that's it about GS. And as I said, for anthropology, I'll take up another session because it's already been 1 hour, and anthro will it's a detailed strategy, so it will take some time for us to for me to answer those questions. So I'll take up some of the questions which you have asked, and for the next 10 minutes I can answer your questions. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Just bear with me for a second. I'm not very good at using technology. Okay, so we have a question from Dev. Ma'am, how to improve answer writing skills? So I would say that you don't have to like really write a perfect answers. What happens is most of the time we try to write perfect answers. We just have to start with writing an average answer and write a few answers which are above average. That's it. You do not have to write a perfect answer because there can be no perfect answer. So to improve your answer writing skills, I would say write answers daily, at least two answers, either from any of the online platforms, or you can use a test series and write just two answers of the test series every day and compare it with the model answer. And please try to check your answers yourself as if you are the examiner and you're checking answers of somebody else. So try to do that. If you have an issue with expression or use of English, I would suggest make a summary of the editorials, just for the sake of improving your writing skills. Like if you read the editorial, just write it down in your own words. With time you will start gaining the vocabulary which is present, because newspaper editorials are considered one of the best written articles. So you will be able to incorporate the style of writing and the vocabulary from these editorials. So if that is an issue, then you can definitely use this approach. Are coaching notes sufficient for economics, or efforts have to be? Okay, I don't know which coaching notes you are referring to, but I would suggest try to use standard books. That will be helpful, and try to make notes based on the previous year questions. And so that will help, because every not all coaching notes are good. And frankly, I have not attended coaching, so I won't be able to tell you which coaching notes are good. But if you are able to answer the previous year questions, then yes, you can use those notes. And is Lakshmikant sufficient for mains? See, I would say yes, it is, but in the sense that you have to read it in a different perspective. For example, if you read the parliamentary system, then you have to see the views of different scholars which are given in Lakshmikant, like say for about Granville Austin or B.R. Ambedkar or anything. So we do not tend to see these things when we are studying for prelims, but you have to see this when you are studying for mains, because the questions are of that kind. So say comparison between the constitution of India and other countries. So for this you can also use class notes. Like I said, I used the notes of IS Network for this, and I also followed Anudeep Durishetty sir's notes. You can go through it. His way of making notes is really good, and I followed the same approach, and it really helped me a lot. So you can refer to that. Next question. DAF and hobby suggestions. Okay, yeah, we did not talk about interview, but about DAF, hobby suggestions, I would suggest that even though you write down a specific hobby. For example, in my case, my hobby was painting and doodling, but instead of writing doodling, I wrote that doodling of abstract mental constructs. So this is something which was very specific, and I was asked in the interview board. I had Manoj Soni sir's board, and this year I scored 171. Last year I had 185, and before that I had 187, and before that I had 182. So yeah, I feel writing a specific hobby, it gives them a way to start the conversation, and you can be more sure that your interview will go on your DAF. So narrow down your hobby. Like suppose you have trekking. Instead of writing just trekking, you can write trekking in the Himalayas or trekking in the Western Ghats. So I would suggest, in case of hobby, write something very specific. If you have to write painting, write say stained glass painting or landscape painting. Be very specific, so that you will narrow down your own material for preparation, and you will help them ask more specific questions rather than asking something general, because painting or say dancing or singing, these are very broad hobbies and anything can be asked. So rather than that, you can write in singing classical Carnatic music, or in dancing you can write specifically about what kind of dance you like, or what kind of dance is your hobby. So that is the thing. So I'll take a few more questions. Ma'am, is there any substitute of Spectrum? See, if you're talking about the new Spectrum, I feel it is very cumbersome. So I got an old Spectrum, 2014 or 15 edition, which you can get in one of the stores. So that was very crisp and short. But yes, of course, there are many replacements of Spectrum. So Bipin Chandra is one. But again, Bipin Chandra is a bit vast, but you can go through class notes as well, because for history is something which the class notes won't vary much. So I would suggest that you can use your class notes for history, and yeah, that is what I would suggest. I'll take a few more questions. Uh, which NCRT is needed for pre-24? See, NCRTs, all the NCRTs will help, but some are to be specifically done. For example, economy, macroeconomics is an NCRT which is a must. Art and culture NCRT is a must. Then themes in Indian history, that is a good NCRT, and geography NCRTs are very, very important. So these are the must-do NCRTs, and other NCRTs, say for non-science background students or non-biology students, the biology and biotechnology NCRTs are important. So these are the must-do ones. Others are optional. You can do it. Obviously, it will be better to help in clearing your basic concepts. But if you have class notes or any other notes, then you can refer to those as well. How many years current affair is needed? 1 year. 1 year is sufficient, because actually, if you ask me, then nothing is sufficient. Even 3 years is not sufficient, because many of the times they've asked questions which are older. But focus on 1 year. 1 year current affairs, that is sufficient, because most of the themes are covered again and again, and some things which come, just out of chance, you cannot waste a lot of time on that. So I would suggest 1 year current affairs is enough. How to analyze previous year questions. There are a lot of videos available online. I think Vision Eyes has a PYQ videos, so you can go through that, because that will give you direction on how to analyze these previous year questions. That will be helpful. Or otherwise, what I followed was, I took down the previous year questions. In case of mains, I'll tell you first about mains. So I took out the previous year questions, and I wrote the themes for each question. Say for example, if there was something on in paper 1 on earthquakes, I jotted down earthquakes. Something on say organized crime, I wrote down organized crime, and that way I took all the question papers till 2013, and I tried to see which are the areas where many of the questions were asked, and which areas I should focus on. So this is something which is a self exercise which will really help you. And if you want to do a detailed analysis, then like I said, you can go through these Vision Eyes videos or any other videos of previous year questions which are available online. Secondly, in case of prelims, there are two ways to approach the previous year questions. One is the themes which are being repeatedly asked. Say for example, if any new species in news, it is asked, or any endemic species, or any species which is like critically endangered, that is something which is asked. So if you see the previous year questions, you will first come to know what is the trend of questions. And the second way of analyzing is finding out information about each question, and finding out information about the options which are given in the question. Say for example, in case of art and culture, if they have asked about sun temples, then even if one of the answers is correct in that question, but you can find out information about the other options which are given. So that is the second way of analyzing the previous year questions in case of prelims. NCRT, Spectrum, Lakshmikant, and Mrunal handout. Is it too much to clear pre? No, I think these are the basics you can do. I'm not very sure about Mrunal sir's handout because I haven't used it. But whatever reviews I've got that it is good. So you can use it if you are comfortable and you are able to understand it. You can use it, but add to that for environment. So you can use either Shankar IAS or PMFIS or your class notes, but environment is something which you have to use for prelims. So this plus environment. So I'll take just 2 or 3 more questions because it's been more than an hour. Okay, things I have studied, but it does not retain in my mind. So yeah, good you reminded me. So I used certain study techniques, scientific study techniques like Pomodoro method, ping and pong, and then SRQ method. So if you if you Google or on YouTube, if you search for study techniques, you will find these different study techniques. So these have been very helpful. So I changed from one technique to another, and I use these techniques for various kind of data retention. For example, I use the Memory Palace for learning, say, this Saptarishi or something which has, multiple points, 10, 15 points, and I have to remember it. So I used Memory Palace. It is a technique where you can remember, you can visually remember objective information. The most important technique which I used was this photographic memory, photogenic memory, where you can retain the information by remembering the way it has been organized. So these were the techniques I used. So I think something which is scientifically proven, and if it is going to help you, you should definitely use that. What to do for CSAT, seeing this year's CSAT. See, like I told you, accuracy is important now because there are many questions which you won't be able to solve, and there are many questions which are very lengthy, and it is better not to solve, though they are easy. For example, they had asked about the sum of the integers from 1 to 100. So that is something which is doable, but it is very time consuming. So if you know the formula or the summation formula, then it's fine. Otherwise, it is something which you have to skip. So seeing this year's CSAT, I feel, excuse me. So I feel looking at this year's CSAT that selection of questions is very important. Don't waste your time on questions in which though you'll get the answer, but it is going to be very time consuming. So try to select questions which use less of your time so that you can attempt more questions, and do a safe attempt. Say at least 40 questions is something which I would suggest, because if you do something close to say 35 or 36, then you have a very small margin of error, and in that pressure, even there are many questions which you know, but you tend to mark them wrong. So please do not attempt questions on the border, and try to focus on the topics which are more being asked, like I told in the beginning, probability and permutation, combination, time and work. So this is so about I unfortunately, sorry, I don't have a Telegram channel. I did not start a Telegram channel, but if you have any queries, my Insta ID is there, dr_POOJAMK. So Dr. Pooja MK. So you can ask me your queries on Instagram, and I will try to answer your queries. And yeah. Just a second. Yeah. So see, about interview and all these other questions related to optional, I think we'll have to take a separate session. So I think we can stop our live session here, and if you have any queries, I will mention my Insta ID in the comments. You can send me a message. I will try to answer as soon as possible. So thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for listening, and I wish you all the best, and I hope that you all get through and you are able to achieve your dreams. All the best. Thank you so much.